Hello and welcome from the depths. My name is Sin Karma. Today I wanted to make a video regarding custom jet engines, which you might see here right now in the background. Here's one. Specifically, I want to look at different parts of what they do. Now, of course, in the game you can press build, go E, go to there, go jet controller. You'll see a flashing red button saying jet guide. That will tell you everything you need to know. Oh, and go through a nice tutorial to give you all the parts. But sometimes it's not as clear, and you want something to experiment. Now I have come to experiment on this. Now here we have our basic jet controller. We have jet controller, the main part of the jet. Doesn't do anything except make the jet a whole piece. The jet air intake that brings air into the jet. The jet compressor that compresses the air. The jet combustion chamber that where the main amount of oomph comes from, where air is mixed with fuel and combusted. And of course, the more important thing to remember with jets is you must have at least one jet fuel injector in order to put fuel into the combustion chamber and in order to make the engine work. And finally, a jet exhaust does nothing except exhaust. Simple. Now, remember this value. This basic jet engine makes max power of 40 and uses per minute 600 fuel, meaning it can survive for almost 2 minutes on one fuel tank. Now let's go to to the jet air intake. Very first thing we need to look at is, of course, jet air intake add-ons. First parts you can look at. We've put one onto this one jet air intake, and we can see we get max power output of now 60 for 600 fuel, where instead we usually got 40. That's interesting. So you could add these now and increase the amount of power you will get in the end result. But of course, now if we look here again and we put another jet intake on the front and not an auxiliary intake, we get max power output of 140, which is a lot better. So in theory, you could extend your engine a lot further and not widen it by these additional side intakes and get more power. If I also point out that these parts all cost the same. Meaning it really is more efficient to put more of these than add. Now, just for argument's sake, I've put 4 of these auxiliary intakes and one jet air intake. And we see the controller now produces 120, which is the same as we have, just not really the same, it's down by 20. So it really is more efficient to put them on the front than put them around the sides. Now that's air intakes covered, let's continue to the next part, jet compressors. We go to the compressors and see standard one produces 40, 600 fuel. Now we put a jet auxiliary compression unit right here, and here's jet compressor. You can see that we get an extra 5 power output now, which isn't a lot added for just one piece. But now if we go and add another jet compressor and not auxiliary compressor, we get a max power of 60, 20 extra oomph. But if we take a moment to look back, we'll see our previous jet controller, if we added one jet air intake, we got 140 instead of 40. Meaning, adding a jet compressor gives us less power than adding another jet air intake. And lastly, we look at jet controller with a compressor with 4 auxiliary compressors, gives a max power of 60, 600, which is the same as jet controller with 2 compressors. Meaning, either way, you can do it either way you want. It doesn't matter. Though this way with the 4, so you will be spending more resources to build it. Now comes to the more complicated part: combustion chambers, jet fuel injectors. If we now add another combustion chamber, we see an increase of another 20 to the max power output per 600 fuel per minute. And if we now go down and we take it out, we're going to add another fuel injector. You see our fuel usage has been doubled because there's now 2 things putting in fuel. And our max power output has now gone to 80. Effectively, per fuel injector, we're injecting 600 fuel in, and this, with each one, we will be doubling the power we get. Brilliant. But what about the other parts? You can see here by the combustion chamber, we got jet fuel injector and an extra combustor. How much does this extra combustor do for us? You see here we put on 1, and yeah, max fuel per minute is still 600 because we only have 1 injector, but max power output has only gone up by 5. Not really impressive, but necessarily if you want to squeeze that a little bit of extra power out without using more fuel, you'll have to use the extra combustion chambers. And if we try to look at more extreme levels, and we see 4 fuel injectors, we've drastically increased our max fuel to 2,400 and max power output of 160, 4 times the usual amount. And again, we're going to look at another one where we have as many jet auxiliary combustion chambers on as we can. But of course, we can't put on 4 because we need at least 1 jet fuel injector. We get power output of 55 per 600 fuel. If you remember, putting on a whole other combustion chamber gave us 60 per 600, much cheaper than putting on more auxiliary combustion chambers. So now, armed with this knowledge, we will go to 2 examples. We're going to look at an engine we build where we have a constraint of size here. We can only build a block this beam till this beam. One side we have an engine that we're now trying to make much more efficient. A jet engine we're going to try and make as much power. We know fuel injectors give us a lot more power, but use a lot more fuel, so we want as much power as we want, so we put all fuel injectors over a ton of combustion chambers. And of course, 1 air intake with 4 intakes on the sides, 1 compressor with 4 compressors on the sides, and I've speculated 4. We get a massive 7,680 max power output. Fantastic. But one problem: max fuel use per minute is 14,000. Now, if I take you to that, 1 fuel tank can hold a maximum of 1,000. Meaning, if we take that fuel use per minute and grab a calculator, 1,004 0.4000 divided by 60 gives us 240 fuel use per second. 1000 divided by 240, 4 seconds. One fuel tank only going to hold 4 seconds. You're going to drop out of the sky in an instant. Yes, you've got a low speed, but it's not going to last very long. Now comes to a more efficient design. We've squeezed into the same area. We've put on a ton of jet air intakes and auxiliary air intakes. Only one compressor and 4 auxiliary compressors, because we've seen that air intakes give more than compressors, and one combustion chamber with 1 fuel injector and 4 auxiliary combustion chambers. We get per 600 fuel, it's the same as our basic, we get 1,395 max power output. Fantastic fuel economy for the same amount of fuel. But of course it doesn't end there, because we've now looked at each individual pod increased by themselves. We've not looked at them combining with each other, and I'm specifically talking with compressors and air intakes. This comes more informed. So if we see here again, taking a look back, a jet controller with 2 compressors and 1 intake gives a max power output of 60. And if we jump back here, the difference between this and one with 2 intakes is 140 and 60. In other words, 1 compressor added 20, 1 air intake didn't add 20, it added an incredible 100 in. So if we add another air intake and another compressor, we're supposed to get 120, right? Giving us 160. No, because we get actually 260. The reason for this is the air intakes take in air, and the compressors actually multiply the air. So the more compressors there are, the more it is multiplied, and the more air intakes, the more is in. For the same amount of fuel. Again, we will take another look at the engine with lots of air intakes, and we get 1,395 per 600 fuel. And now we look here at an engine with a ton of compressors, and we get 1,235 per 600 fuel. Almost the same, but a bit less. Now we take a look at combined compressors and air intakes. Almost equal amount. I couldn't, in the restriction we have set up for ourselves, fit in the equal amount. 3 air intakes and 4 compressors with their auxiliaries all around. We get 3,075 power per 600 fuel. That's a lot more for the same construction price, same fuel consumption. We get a lot more power, almost 3 times as power. It's quite obvious that this would be the best way to go about it. And now for our final thought. I'm going to break our restriction now by 1 block on the front, 1 block on the back, by adding 1 more jet air intake, so we have equal amount jet air intakes and compressors. And then add 1 more combustion chamber with 3 auxiliaries and 1 more fuel injector. Now, of course, this means we're doubling the amount of fuel that is being pumped in. So in theory, we're doubling the amount of power output, and we now have 7,820 power per fuel use of 1,200. Pretty much a tank and a bit used for every minute. A ton of power. And if you remember quickly, we look back here at our fuel guzzling massive rocket, was supposed to get a lot of air and power, only gets 7,600 and 14,000 fuel use per minute. This engine will die 4 seconds. But our new engine here give us a full minute, will give us almost 30 seconds of amazing thrust. More power, 30 seconds. It's amazing. Well, not really 30 seconds, we're looking more into 40 seconds because it's one fuel tank and a bit. So, I hope you all understand more. Let us summarize. Air intakes, bring in air. Auxiliary intakes, bring in more air, but not as well for their actual cost, less. Compressors, bring in air. Auxiliary compressors help compress the air, but the auxiliaries cost just a waste of money, only useful if your length is constrained. Then combustion chambers will begin to burst and explode fuel. Fuel injectors are required. They will put in the fuel in the combustion chamber to mix with the air. The air that was brought in by the air intakes and then multiplied by the compressors. Then finally that gives you final fuel amount. Auxiliary combustion chambers gives a small modifier to the amount of fuel, the amount of power you get per fuel, but it's not really that noticeable. Finally, the jet exhaust simply exits fumes. I hope you learned a bit of here and about experimentation here. I hope this will allow you to build a much more bigger, powerful aircraft or jet-powered ship. Those awesome, freaking awesome. My name is Senkama. Have a good day.